From the studio that brought you cancer, and more cancer, comes cancer so strong that the patient asked to be taken off life support.
You have a winning personality. I guess I got yours by mistake.
I guess the final stage in the superhero movie genre is when they go back to being X-Men films and so bad they're good joints. What with wonderfully written dialogue such as, you know the best thing about the future? It hasn't happened yet. This isn't helped by pretty much everyone delivering their lines like they're film school students. You have Sydney Sweeney doing the, oh my gosh, this is like so cool.
Who are you? What is going on?
Type voice and looking flustered in every single shot. It's got very annoying when she spent the whole movie trying to pose for the cover of a magazine instead of playing a character. Tahar Rahim should consider bypass surgery for the number of flat lines he delivered. There was no personality, no character, and no purpose at all to any of his acting, and Dakota Johnson has the unfortunate task of acting as awkwardly as possible the whole movie.
I can see the future. Oh, what the hell? She didn't see that coming? That's not how it works.
Great acting all around. What makes all this funnier is all the dialogue that wasn't allowed to breathe. I'll be back as soon as I can. Thank you, Ben. You didn't ask for any of this. That's how an actual line of dialogue was delivered. And there are at least 20 other examples of that sort of thing happening. There's also the case of the severely mismatched music. You'll have tracks like Miles Away playing while we pretend an ambulance rushing somewhere is an action scene, or when Mad I Was Web gets sad about someone dying and a track plays that sounds like we're ending the movie. Or when we have characters walking through a forest and start playing pop music half a minute before we get to the setting where that music would be appropriate. And apparently the theme music recycles music from the PlayStation Spider-Man game. What a creative movie. The editing desperately tries to make something out of nothing and often ends up overcompensating. What with its millions of schizophrenic flashes like it's trying to be a Saw film. The cinematography makes this feel like a production of a low-budget TV episode, and the choreography of the action scenes is more confused than Dakota Johnson trying to name Spider-Man films.
Can you name the 3 Spider-Man Tom Holland movies?
Yeah, Spider-Man. Here he comes. Spider-Man, and he's back. And the other one, the last one is the Goblet of Spider-Man.
Need a vacation.
There's pretty much nothing to appreciate with the filmmaking, except its unintended comedy, so why don't we check out the story?
I have a new movie coming out. It's called Madam Web. It is in the Marvel Universe, and it also stars Sydney Sweeney. So it's kind of like if AI generated your boyfriend's perfect movie.
Almost nothing happens for like half an hour. Cassie Webb is a paramedic who starts seeing the future because her mother, who was 9 months pregnant, got bitten by a spider given to her by a tribe of Spider-Man people as she was dying.
This film and this story is different because it's really grounded in reality.
In case it isn't obvious, this is a very, very dumb film. Cassie Webb then, wait, hold on. Her name is Cassie Webb? And she got powers from a spider? This is so lazy. Her name is Webb, and she got powers from a spider. Genius writing. We get introduced to her paramedic skills because she helps save someone from a car, and is inside the car when it starts tumbling off a bridge, and the doors to the car comically shut behind her as she falls into the water. You could definitely tell from the acting that it was a life-threatening situation and not a blue screen set. But before you can properly process that, we get teleported to an awful CGI grayscape, where her vision powers go haywire. The visions give her memories of a balloon, blood on her hands, fireworks, a big sign of the letter S for some reason, and it's meant to be presented in this, "Whoa, what's going on? This is so mind-blowing for the character" way, and all I could feel was disappointment that Doctor Strange did this shit 8 years ago and far, far better. We went from an incredibly creative and excellently done VFX sequence of all these different realms and worlds that still holds up to this day, and gave you a sense for how mind-blowing everything was to Doctor Strange, and then we have Cassie's mind getting blown sequence, and it is unimaginatively dull by comparison, with the VFX looking like they were made in the year this film is set, 2003. Information we specifically focused on for no reason. The villain is this moron called Ezekiel Sims,
He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
whose goal in the movie is to kill 3 teenage girls that he saw would kill him in a vision of the future where they were superheroes. What was really lame about this guy is that there was a scene about halfway through the movie where he was explaining his evil machinations to Cassie, and Cassie says something like, "You can't just kill 3 teenage girls." And it was in that moment I realized just how lame this villain was. Wouldn't it be way cooler if we actually saw him being a really good guy? Like he builds hospitals, or runs several charities, or is in charge of a company dedicated to bettering the world. And then he gets plagued in his dreams by 3 people killing him in the future. And now he starts to be convinced that this will happen, and that he won't be able to continue his good work. And then we have an interesting moral dilemma of, well, do I bring myself to kill 3 innocent girls, or allow them to grow up and kill me? There's something there we can work with, instead of, yeah, they're gonna kill me, so I must kill them, and that's all there is to it. So the rest of the film is dedicated to Cassie hiding the girls from Ezekiel, which is pretty fucking difficult when for no reason they leave their perfect hiding spots to go into public, and never bother to hide their identities, despite knowing that they are wanted by the police and being hunted by Ezekiel in a Spider-Man costume. And both times they do this, Ezekiel figures out where they are immediately and attempts to kill them. I love it when our protagonists are as dense as concrete. Cassie saves the girls from Ezekiel twice, once at a train station and again at a diner, and both times it was because she had premonitions of the future and took steps and measures to avoid it. But because she can't control the visions and her powers, she concludes that she can't take care of the girls. And we seriously pretend this is a source of drama. Her powers save the girls twice. They would be dead twice if not for you. You're being an idiot. A lucky idiot too, because 2 out of the 4 times she saves the girls, it was because she ran Ezekiel over with a vehicle. Both times she is very, very far away from them, gets a vision of the future, and somehow manages to time her rammings perfectly to knock him out. How lucky there was a truck there to slow her down, otherwise she would have rammed into the diner 20 seconds too early. Same thing for the cars that happened to be going by at that time and prevented her from overtaking the truck. Or how she managed to time smashing through a television screen to knock out Ezekiel in the small window he was standing still. So many variables, so many points of failure, but it all just happens to work out. Because of course it does. At some point she goes back to the Amazon to research spider people, and a random guy enters the movie, and we shoehorn in a message of, when you take on responsibility, great power will come. Yes, we found a way to shoehorn in the Spider-Man meme lesson. Why the hell is it in here? Is it actually just because Mad I Was Web is a Spider-Man character? Pretty dumb if that's why. Most of the movie is either nothing happening or really dumb, poorly constructed writing, and I wouldn't have thought much about it till right at the very end when a scene gets so bonkers and ridiculous in such a short amount of time that it's difficult to put into words. The scene I'm talking about is the final battle with the fireworks depot that they just so happen to be nearby. Cassie's plan is to stick a bunch of flares into the firework crates and blow them all up to slow down Ezekiel. I don't know why we think that us four humans are going to have a better chance of escaping and surviving an exploding fireworks factory than a guy with superhuman reflexes and agility. But I guess you can do anything you want when you're given infinite plot armor, and a billion coincidences to handwave any problems that may arise. The gang get to the roof and have to make their way to a rescue helicopter. Ezekiel then pounces his way back into the scene and lands in front of one of the girls. But before he can fling her off the building, we have to make a billion schizophrenic flash cuts to avoid him doing that, so that we can have Cassie see another vision, one where a firework is hurtling towards one of the girls. So she tells her to get down, she ducks, the firework misses her and is about to hit Ezekiel before he punches it out of the way. It gets sent hurtling towards the helicopter and blows it up. As you can tell, this is a very well thought out action scene. It is definitely not a very random sequence of nonsense bullshit that was paced way too quickly to take seriously. Then there's a moment where all the teenagers are dangling from various paraphernalia and Ezekiel is like, "You can't save them all," to Cassie, and he's right, Cassie is a normal human who can only see the future. Right. But then out of fucking nowhere, she suddenly remembers the randos taking on responsibility gives you power message, and 3 wispy tendrils shoot out of her body and make their way to the girls. Then it gets even better because corporeal ghosts of her appear in front of each of them saying things like, "I got you, hold on." And she begins lifting all of them to safety as we see a wide shot of her in the middle of a giant wispy web before Ezekiel punches her in the stomach, sending her flying backwards into a giant metal sign, and all the tendrils suck the teens onto her little catwalk and everything is fine.
This film and this story is different because it's really grounded in reality.
Her web connects them all. Her name is Cassie Webb. The film is called Madame Web. Oh my gosh. Then her and Ezekiel slowly walk up the catwalk. Some cringe is exchanged before random debris traps Ezekiel. You know, it's pretty lame that we didn't even try to have a coolly shot fight scene between Ezekiel's Spider-Man powers and Cassie's tendril powers. Nope, some debris just falls on him and he's defeated. However, it is more than made up for when Cassie decides to deliver the greatest superhero one-liner put to film. "You were trying to change your future, but the girls were never your future. I was." Yes, as if this whole movie has actually been about Ezekiel and Cassie's dynamic, when before this scene the only time they spoke together was in a vision of the future that only one of them saw. Ezekiel for quite a lot of the movie didn't even know who Cassie was, and even when he found out he didn't really care until this scene. And it's not like we compensated for that by giving Cassie some sort of revenge storyline. Ezekiel killing her mum has only ever been an afterthought. What has been done to set up the specific payoff? Nothing. But what really makes this moment is the crash zoom on the line, "I was." This is the sort of unearned climactic moment you would expect to only ever find in a satire. But no, this is a real movie released in the year 2024, and they play this unironically. It's like we stuck the footage into an AI, and this is what it gave us. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm becoming more convinced that this movie actually was made by an AI. Like 20 minutes before the film ends, Cassie teaches the girls how how to do CPR, because it will apparently counteract Spider-Man's neurotoxic poison somehow. Lol. And then they never use it for that purpose. Instead, we have Cassie fall into a body of water, for the third time in the movie, by the way, and the girls have to fish her out. But Cassie isn't responsive, so what do the girls have to do? That's right, perform CPR. That's the sort of thing an artificial intelligence would come up with. Because any sane person would immediately think, yeah, this is a really cheap, lame, and honestly pretty stupid resolution to the movie, and toss it away. Yeah, the S sign that was in Cassie's first vision is here, and we put a strange amount of emphasis on it, like it's going to be important. Only it gets cucked by the letter P, which gets to crush Ezekiel, meaning that the big payoff for the S that we've specifically focused on multiple times is that Cassie glances at it while she is drowning. What a great Chekhov's gun. And wait, hold on. The sign was a Pepsi Cola sign? Now I'm almost positive an AI made this. Then again, can you really expect more from the writers of Dracula Untold, The Last Witch Hunter, Gods of Egypt, Power Rangers, and Morbius?
How excited are you to have people finally see the movie?
I'm pretty excited. I mean, it's been years that we've been working on this thing.
Then at the end of this scene, we discover that Cassie becomes blind because a random fucking rock smacked her in the face while she was drowning. And we get a montage of her and the girls in supersuits and using superpowers.
One of the comic drawings that I saw of Julia was always upside down, feet together, very ballet aerialist moves. So I begged and begged and begged to have my character drop from the ceiling, because that's just what Julia would have done.
Pretty weird how we teased in the trailer and all the marketing that these girls would have superpowers and be superheroes, only for it to be in the movie for about a minute total and all in visions of the future. I wonder what other shit Sony superhero movie this sort of thing is reminding me of right about now. This is truly one of the dumbest movies that exists in the world, and I would highly recommend everyone to watch it, if only to enjoy that one scene. You'll survive. I did.
Cassie, I need you at the triage!
Wait. O'Neill!